Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be accepting your present situation. Well, I've actually got 6 emails that I'm going to go through with you today. A couple of them are pretty short. But before we get into it, I got a quote I'm going to share with you, because what each of these guys is struggling with in one way, shape, or form is accepting where they're at in life, accepting what's going on with the relationship, and being caught up in what may or may not happen in the future. In essence, what's going on is they're not living in the present moment. And I'll give you an example. Like the other night, I was out on a date, and like the first 4 or 5 minutes I was sitting there, I wasn't feeling it. And I just wasn't really into the conversation that I was having with this girl. And because obviously what I do for a living, I'm always able to really analyze people and size them up pretty quickly. And then so it's like starting to have some dead spots in the conversation. And I started thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, because I realized right away this girl wasn't exactly what I really was looking for. But then I thought to myself, you know what? It's Friday night. I'm out on a date. Let's make the best of it. So what I started to do was to focus on her, focus on things that I liked about her. Obviously, sparks weren't flying, and this isn't the next great love of my life, but was a very pretty girl. I thought, hey, let's make the best of it, and let's have a good time. And once I did that, once I got myself to be in the present moment and actually work to move the conversation along a little bit more, as opposed to thinking internally, it's like, this ain't what I'm looking for. Because like when you get in that state, you get in that kind of a negative state, or you've already kind of made up your mind, it's like you start to drift, and you start to drift towards the future and what you really want, and you start thinking about what you really want and how this person that you're with is not what you want. And that takes you out of the present moment and makes it hard to keep a conversation going and actually live in the moment with her. And so I started focusing on that. And it's like within a minute or two, it got the vibe flowing, it got her talking more, got her open up, got her laughing. And so we ended up having a pretty damn good time. But it was all because this is something I've worked a lot with over the years, because sometimes in life, not only when it comes to your dating life, but it may be with your career, or maybe you're in college and you're looking forward to graduating and maybe 2 or 3 years away from graduating, or you've just started your business and in your mind you're thinking what it would be like when it's really kicking ass and doing well and you're making lots of money, or if you're working for somebody else and building a business on the side, you're thinking about what it'll be like when you don't have to work for somebody else, what you're going to do with your spare time. And it's because we tend to live in the future. We tend to not be satisfied with where we're at presently in life. And so it's just sometimes in life you can't immediately change your circumstances. And when that happens, you don't accept where you're at. You don't accept the present situation. And when that happens, you actually suffer. You make yourself miserable because you just focus on the fact of what's not working in your life, or what's not the way you want it to be. And at the end of the day, what you really want or how you want things to be, it may be several years off in the future before you really can get there. And so it really is an art to learn to bring yourself back to the present moment. It's like I've mentioned before, like those few years I was sleeping on my dad's couch after going from living in a $1 million lakefront house and making $500,000 a year to not even wanting to go out and go to a movie or something like that, because I didn't want to spend the $20, because my business was not, I was waiting tables at the time. It sucked. And that was really challenging, to stay in the present moment and look for reasons why I could be happy, or reasons that I could be excited, or things that I could go and do that didn't cost a lot of money or require me to spend a lot of money. And I really struggle with it at times. And so it's like, I've been there. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to have a really great relationship and have a really great life and be making tons of money and be able to stay at 5-star resorts and fly all over the world whenever you want and not think about things. Go to the Rolex store and plop down $7,000, $8,000 for a Rolex watch and not even bat an eyelash. And then to go from that to not even want to take yourself to a movie because you don't want to spend the $20, it sucks. And so it's really hard when you get spoiled and you get used to a good life to not having that. And it's a real challenge. And everything I've learned in life is that your challenges, the difficult times when things don't go well, that's when you really need to focus on what's good about this. How can I find joy in what I'm doing right now, even though maybe the person that I'm with, or the career that I'm working, or the job that I'm working, or where my business happens to be is not where I really want it to be in the future, to my own standards of what I think it's going to take in order for me to be really happy. Because at the end of the day, being really happy and really enjoying your life and being excited all the time, it really is a direct result of the more you get to fill your life up with things and people, events, places, circumstances that are of your choosing, that are of your liking, the kind of things that you've always wanted, the more you can do that with the hours of your day, the 24 hours of your day, the happier you're going to be. But in order to get to that place, you might have to spend many years working on several areas of your life. Whether it's like, say you want to lose 50 pounds and you just joined the gym and just started juicing vegetables. You're not going to lose that weight overnight. You're not even going to lose that weight in the first month or the first couple of months. And the thing is, you might lose a lot of weight in the first 90 days, but then you're going to kind of reach a plateau. It's like those last 5 to 10 pounds, those are going to be the hardest pounds to get rid of. And so the key is to keep yourself in the present moment and think about the things that you have to be grateful for. Just like I did the other night on this date, even though this girl wasn't what I really ultimately wanted, I made the best of it. And I focused on the fact that, hey, I had a date with a really pretty girl, and when I focused on that and focused on having a good time and making her laugh and just enjoying myself, living in the moment, the dynamic and the vibe and the energy of the whole date completely changed. We both actually had a really good time. Because if I'd have stayed in that vibe that I was having, it would have sucked. It would have been a miserable evening. I would have walked away going, oh, that really fucking sucked ass. So let me read this quote before we get into these guys' emails. And it says, life is a journey that is meant to be enjoyed and cherished. When you stay in the current moment instead of being fearful about the future and what may or may not happen, you enable yourself to find joy in your current situation. When we want reality to be other than it is, we become unable to accept ourselves and our life situation, causing us to suffer and experience unhappiness. The more you can accept the things that you can't instantly change in your life, the more you will be able to experience the beauty of what is. Besides, the only moment that exists is the now. Embrace it. Enjoy it. What you focus on will expand. So let's get in the first guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I'm in a bit of a situation. I would appreciate your assistance. I've started reading your book, and it's really great what you do. Thank you. It's good that you're reading the book, because that's going to change your life if you apply what I teach you there. He says, I've been going out with this girl for 4 or 5 months, and we know each other through a friend. And about 3 weeks ago, she said she doesn't feel that close to me anymore because of all the little things that I don't do. In other words, I don't tell her that she's nice, I don't open the door for her, etc. She's not materialistic, and those little things I mentioned matter a lot to her, and I realized all of this, but a bit too late. She said the door is still open for me, but for the time being, she just wants us to hang out and occasionally have sex. So in other words, she wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up. Nothing wrong with that. But what you got to realize is, obviously, once you go through the book, you're going to start to realize what you weren't doing that you needed to do. And this is part of being happy and accepting yourself and enjoying your life. Because if you're not really happy and things start off great with a girl and they start to go sideways, a lot of times it's because you're not really happy as a person. Your life maybe not exactly where you want it to be. And so when the person's with you, you just kind of take for granted that, I don't need to open the car door for her right now. I don't need to take her anywhere this week. I'm just going to invite her over and watch some movies and have sex. And it's like you stop putting your best foot forward. And it's like slowly she starts to not be as into you as you once were. But I mean, it's a good sign that she still wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up. He says, we still go places, and we even had sex recently. She calls me a lot, and we still have drinks. Well, it's good that she's pursuing you. But her position still stands. According to her, she doesn't want more, at least for the time being. Well, she's pursuing you, and she wants to hang out, and she's having sex with you. So let's accept that. Enjoy that. Be grateful for that. Appreciate that. Live in the moment instead of living in your head outside of where you are, and the fact that where you are is not what you really ultimately want to be in the future. And stop focusing on a relationship. A relationship is something that may or may not happen in the future. that's partly taking you out of the present moment and your ability just to have a good time with her, just like I was talking about the other night with this girl I was out with. He says, I told her I don't want to be just a sex partner. I know there's a lot of dudes that are watching this video that are going, I would love to have that. I'd love to have a chick that I was hooking up with. I'd love to just get laid. There's a lot of guys that are thinking that. And it's like, you got this going on, and it's just the whole way you're looking at it is totally negative. It's not positive. It's not helping your situation. He says, and then I want more than that. However, we laughed, and again, we slept together. Hang out, have fun, hook up. At the end of the day, you're still getting laid, dude. He says, I'm confused as to how to react to all this and what to do. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Stop complicating things. Live in the moment. Be grateful when you're with her. Be a gentleman. Open the car door. Do those little things that she likes. Let her continue to come to you at her own pace. Because if she's calling you, if she's texting you, if she's pursuing you, then guess what? The relationship really is her idea. And as long as it's her idea, she's going to keep pursuing you. If she's chasing you, she's not going to dump you. She's not blowing you off. She's not trying to get rid of you. He says, I think there is still some level of interest, definitely, but I'm not sure how to turn things around. I feel as if she's waiting for me to do a comeback or something. Do I give her time? Do I back away? Do I stop calling her? Well, you should not be doing more than 20 to 30% of the initiating when it comes to calling, texting, and pursuing. So obviously you didn't tell me enough about that, but that is something, if you get that ratio under control, she'll be pursuing you more. And then that will allow her to chase you and to pursue you and the relationship to be her idea. But from the tone of your email, it just sounds like you're a little too focused on the relationship and focused on what it isn't. Instead of just being grateful for the fact that she's still fucking your brains out and she's still calling you and she's still pursuing you. That's what you need to do. Live in the present moment, just like I was talking about in the quote that I shared. So let's get into the second guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I was wondering if you can help me with raising my self-esteem. I'm a college student. As far as social and dating skills are concerned, mine are below average. Well, that's okay. Look, what's the positive way that you could look at that? They're presently below average. However, I'm working to improve them. You can get excited about that. You can get excited about the fact that you found my work and you're actually starting to apply it, because there's a lot of guys in this world that don't know anything about this stuff, and they're not getting anywhere, and they're also not doing anything about it. I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere, and you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to become great, and at least you've started that. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and you've already taken that step, so be grateful and appreciate the fact that you're on your way. He says, I'm still reading your book over and over to keep the knowledge, and I'm trying to improve my social skills by applying your advice that you teach in the video you did called Improving Your Social Skills. He says, I saw that a week ago. He says, so far I am improving it very slowly. That's all right. LeBron James, the best basketball player in the world, he's still just trying to get a little bit better each day. He's the best in the world, but yet he's still trying to get a little bit better each day. That's all you can do. Try to get better each day, and when you go to bed at night, you can have peace of mind that, hey, I gave my best shot. Tomorrow's a new day. He says, I just need to practice more. Repetition is the mother of skill. Excellence is not a singular act. It is a habit. You are what you do repeatedly. And you're in college, dude. You're fucking young. There's girls everywhere in college. Everywhere you go, there's young, beautiful women in every single class. And I think that's awesome. You have lots of opportunity. It's a target-rich environment, my man. Lots of girls to practice on. And if you're at a big university, a lot of those girls you're never going to see again, so who cares if you look like a jackass? He says, however, what I am having the most trouble with right now is raising my low self-esteem to a high self-esteem. It's not an instant thing. Because as you start to apply this stuff, you start to see that it works. And the more that you see that it works, the more it opens your eyes. The more it'll start to bring a smile to your face. And as you start to get successes, one after another, maybe it takes you a year to really become great. Maybe it takes you 2 years. Who fucking cares? At the end of the day, you're getting better. That's something that you can be excited about and you can look forward to. Going from a low self-esteem to a high self-esteem, it's not like snapping your fingers. It's not an overnight thing. Just accept that where you are is where you are. And look at the fact that 97, 98, 99% of the guys that you're in college with don't know this shit. Think about that. That gives you a leg up on the competition. And right now, every day, you're practicing to get better. But most of those guys, they ain't doing jack shit. They're going out and they're getting drunk, and they're doing the same thing week in and week out, and they're not getting anywhere. He says, because of my bad social experiences I have had since I was a kid, I constantly find myself seeking the approval of others, not feeling good enough, not feeling equal, and not feeling worthy of success and happiness. Well, the past does not equal the future. Again, accept that where you are is where you are, and that's okay. Just because you haven't met the greatest love of your life or the next greatest love of your life, so what? It may happen tomorrow. It may happen next week. But you got to do the work on yourself right now, today, in this present moment, in order to become the person that you need to be in the future, where you have that high self-esteem that you want. It's like Michelangelo was asked when he had finished that giant David statue. He made out of marble, and this guy was admiring it. He was like, "That is just fucking magnificent." Because it's like perfect. It's just giant, huge, like 2-story block of marble. This man who's just like perfectly ripped with muscles and everything, and it's just an amazing work of art. And the guy was marveling at that. And Michelangelo goes, "Oh, David was already in there. I just chipped away the excess." Well, I took art classes years ago, and that's what they teach you. Is like you see what it is, and you chip away the excess. It's like when you draw something, you're actually drawing the lines and the shades that you actually see there. People go, "Oh, that's so amazing." Well, you're just drawing lines and shadows that you already see in the real world. It's all how you look at it. Just like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. He says, my problem is I actually expect people not listening to me, respecting me, loving me, or accepting me. Well, you get what you focus on. Look at it this way. You could focus on saying, you know what, every day I'm getting a little bit better, and more people over time are going to accept me and are going to respect me. And eventually, if you practice this stuff enough, you'll become so good that all the guys want to hang out with you and be your wingman, and all the chicks want to sleep with you because you get it. And most guys don't. He says, could this be because I do not respect, love, and accept myself? Ding, ding. He says, I have trouble with standing up for myself or being proud of who I am because when I was younger, I got put down, criticized, and rejected by my own parents, brother, sister, friends, etc. I had the same shit. I overcame it. You can too. If I can do it, anybody can do it. He says, I want to improve myself to the point where I can stand up for myself and surround myself with the kind of people who accept me and respect me for who I am. Well, the only way it's going to happen is if you learn to love and accept yourself and be okay with where you're at. So you suck with women. So you suck. Your social skills suck. So what? Everybody's got to start somewhere. And as long as you accept that where you are is where you are, you'll give yourself permission to fail. And if you give yourself permission to fail and you keep practicing, you will get better slowly over time. He says, however, I constantly find myself ending up in situations where I become approval-seeking and try to live up to the other people's expectations for both men and women. Fuck it. Fuck them. Who cares? Just like Mick Jagger said, fuck them if they can't take a joke. The right people will like you and accept you. The problem is you're seeking approval from people who really don't give a shit about you. You're always going to be disappointed in those situations. You got to focus on being awesome at being you. Because when you can focus on being awesome at being you and you become awesome at being yourself, then other people will want to be around you because they'll like that vibe. Because most people don't love and accept themselves. Even the people that you think are so cool, they don't really like themselves. Most people don't. And when you learn to love and accept yourself, you'll look around and you'll see that. Most people have a low self-esteem and they don't think very highly of themselves. He says, I fear that when I am loved, accepted, and respected, that I do not deserve it and that I am not good enough to be in that place. I become approval-seeking again, which eventually causes rejection with whoever I'm dating, making new friends, or pursuing my dream life. I just never feel like I'm worthy of being successful, to be happy, be loved. What is your advice? Well, I've gone through enough of examples in here, but like I said, it's just find a way to grind it out. Try to get a little bit better each day. That's all you can do. As long as you give each day your best effort, that's all you can do. And if people don't like it, fuck them. Because it really doesn't matter. They don't matter. The only person's opinion that matters is the person that you see in the mirror every day. If you can become okay with where you're at, everything else will be fucking gravy, dude. Let's get a third guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I met this woman and she thinks I'm very attractive, but she still has many men that are interested in her as well as myself. I find myself worried that one day she will start to date one of the other men. You got to become okay with that possibility. Again, you're not accepting where you're at, and you're fearful. Your mind has created this fearful thing. This, well, what if she finds another guy that's better? What if she does? What are the consequences of that? So what? It's her fucking loss, and you need to feel that way. You need to learn to become okay with that. Despite giving it your best effort, sometimes you're going to meet a girl and she's going to knock your socks off. And you know what? You're not even going to move the attraction needle in her eyes. It's like, she's not going to fucking care. And that's the way it is. So what? It's a numbers game. Keep moving. Keep circulating. You'll find somebody that will light you up and you'll light them up. But if you get focused on what's not working or what's not going anywhere, not only are you going to suffer, but you're not going to be able to see all the other possibilities that are around. He says, how do I get her to actually like me and pick me over the other men? Apply the things that I teach in my book. Focus on being your best self. And stop focusing on getting this one particular woman to love you. Focus on being your best self and treating all women the same. Because if you treat all women the same, soon enough you'll have women responding exactly the way I talk about in my book. And the rest of it don't matter. Everything will fall in place. As long as you learn to love and accept yourself, accept where you're at presently, accept the possibility that this girl may not like you and she may ditch you for another guy. And once you have peace with that and you become okay with that and you accept that, then you'll be able to stay in the present moment. You won't act so needy and weak and push this girl away. Let's get in the next guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I know you're a busy guy, but I'll be short and brief. He says, you say that women will put themselves into your orbit when they like you, but what do you do when you have previously asked them to get together, but you receive either no commitment or she says, yeah, we should, but doesn't take you up on it? We've been intimate in the past, but the last few times I've asked, when are you free to get together, she never seems to have the time. The best response to that is, great. Well, when you figure out your schedule, I would love to see you. Get in touch with me and we'll make plans then. And you got to walk away. And the possibility is she may never contact you. Maybe you did something to turn her off. Maybe she got back together with an ex-boyfriend. You don't really know. It doesn't matter. The key is to act consistently with all women in the ways that I talk about in my book. And the right girl will stick around. It's like, see, you're attached to this one, getting this one woman, winning her over. You've seen too many movies where they do that. That's the wrong mindset to have here. You got to have the mindset that you could take it or leave it. Either way, you would love to have her in your life and be intimate with her again. But if you never hear from her again, that's okay too. And once you get to that place, everything else will fall into place. And if she still has any attraction for you or interest, she'll get in touch. And if she does get in touch, make a date, hang out, have fun, and hook up. It's that simple. Let's get to the next guy's email. He says, hey coach, I hooked up with a girl twice already in the past 2 weeks since I met her. The problem is I have had to do it at a friend's house because I live far from her and I don't have a place of my own that I can invite her over to. This sucks. You're getting laid, dude. And she doesn't mind meeting up with your friend's place to hook up. Hello? Be okay with that. The only way this is going to become an issue is if you have a problem with it, because then that's going to affect your behavior. Then she's going to see that you don't love and accept yourself and you're not cool with this. You're just making the best of a situation you got. Like there's lots of guys that won't even go out with a girl because they don't have a place to take her to, and you're hooking up with her at a friend's house. You're getting laid. It's like you're in a very enviable position compared to a lot of guys out there that I know that are watching my videos. He says, I've been looking to get a job in her country and find a place to rent by myself. See, now you're thinking, okay, I got to become this guy that lives in her country and lives closer to her so we can have more. But you're ignoring the fact that she's willing to come to where you are and hook up at your friend's place. Be grateful for that. Be appreciative of that. If she whines and she doesn't like it, just say, hey, well then I'll come to your place. I don't live near you and it is what it is. And if she doesn't like it, see, a man's got to have a take it or leave it kind of attitude. He's got to present to the world, this is who I am. If you don't love me and you don't accept me for who I am, it's your loss. I mean, not that you're going to say that to her, but that has to be your attitude. Because all you can do is show up and give your best. And sometimes that's simply not going to be enough. I mean, back to LeBron James. He lost in the finals twice before he actually won. He gave it his best shot, and it still fucking wasn't good enough. Even though he was the best player in the world, it still wasn't enough. That's all you can do in life, is give it your best shot. He lost the first 2 times he went, and the second 2 times he's won 2 in a row. He may never win again. I mean, you look at Dan Marino, a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback. He went to 2 Super Bowls in his youth, and he thought he'd be back within the next few years. Everybody did. He never went back, and he never won a Super Bowl. But he's still one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. He gave it his best, and it still was not enough. But he's still a millionaire. And he still gets to do what he loves, which he's a commentator on NFL games. So he's still involved, but he doesn't have a little ring. Big fucking deal. He's still, what he accomplished is amazing. A lot of his records still stand to this day. He says, these changes I want actually have nothing to do with her, as they are important only for me to grow. But the sex is great. However, I think it's childish to have to bring her over to a friend's house to hook up. You're doing what a man does. You're adapting, improvising, overcoming, and compensating for the fact that you don't have a place of your own that's in the country where she lives. So what? You're still getting laid, and as you said, the sex is great. That's awesome. Be appreciative of that. Say, this is wonderful. This is wonderful that I have a woman in my life who's willing to come to my friend's house so we can have sex. And it doesn't bother her because she's there for you. She's not there because of your things or a mythical place that you don't have. So what? She comes there to see you and have you deep inside her. Be grateful and appreciative of that, dude. He says, I think it's childish to bring her over to a friend's house and hook up, and that resource did not last long because she invited me out on a weekend night, but knowing I had no place to take her after bang, I had to come up with an excuse to not make it. And that ended with her telling me to let me know when I want to hang. Her place doesn't work because the folks are there. What should I do? Get a hotel room. Figure it out, dude. Do it in your car. Adapt, improvise, overcome, compensate. That's what men do. Masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to focus on. Just figure it out, man. And if you can't figure it out, figure it out. So let's get into the 6th and final email that I've got for y'all today. This guy says, hey Corey, I've been dating a girl for around 3 weeks. We met online and quickly started texting each other daily. We met up once and had a great time, and the date ended with a lot of kissing. A week later, we met a second time and again had a great time, and there was a lot more kissing and cuddling. Most women sleep with guys by the 2nd or 3rd date, and she's moving in the right direction. It sounds like she's liking you more and more the more time you're spending together so far. He says, when she got home from the 2nd date, she texted me immediately after telling me how amazing I was. All going well. That's awesome. Good job. The mistake I made was in between the 2nd and 3rd date. I told her that she was amazing and I'm so lucky to be dating you. Come on, man. It's like now you put her on a pedestal. Oh, your highness. Like, thank God that you just, oh, I've never spent time with such an awesome woman, and just, oh. It's like, that doesn't make you look like a catch. It makes you look like a guy who's desperate. And then she starts to think, this guy's not successful with other women. Should I be kind of hooking up with him? See, this is all in your mind. This is a total mind fuck. You are mind fucking yourself here. Everything is going great, and then you start worrying about the future, about something that may or may not happen. Just like Dale Carnegie said, fear only exists in the mind. And look how amazingly quick you fuck things up when you become fearful and you get in your head instead of living in the present moment. He says, I know, big mistake. No surprises then that on the 3rd date her attitude had changed slightly as she felt like she had the upper hand. What was really going on is that you were in a fearful place. And because you put her on a pedestal, she started looking more closely at your actions. Because remember, the mentality of women on a date is this a good guy for me? Think about it. And so now you're basically saying, I don't know if I'm good enough for you. I don't know if I'm a good guy for you. And that's basically what you're communicating. So when you start thinking, I don't know if I'm good enough for you, she goes, Is this a good guy for me? And she's not so sure then. He says, on this date, I suddenly felt like I was doing the chasing and she'd lost some of the attraction she had for me. Well, think about it. Before you say anything to a woman or you text her, think, is this going to make me look more confident and sexy and attractive to her, or is this going to make me look weaker in her eyes? I'm so lucky to be dating you. Translation, this doesn't happen to me very often. I don't get girls like you who like me. There's no confidence in that statement. He says, since that date, I'm trying to back off slightly to regain the power and let her do the chasing, but I don't know how much is too much. Well, if you'd read my book, you'd know that you make one date per week. It's simple. When she texts me, should I wait a day to respond? Hell no. If it's at night, like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and you're out partying like a rock star with your friends, and yeah, get back to her next morning. Just say, hey, I was out with a bunch of friends last night, but it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together next? He says, I don't want her to think I'm playing games or anything. Yeah, it's like if you do that, if like she texts you at 2 in the afternoon and then you don't text her till 5 o'clock the next day, she's going to think you're fucking playing games with her. And women don't like that. But if you're busy, text her when you're free. He says also, we've talked about going out to a club in a couple of weeks and 5 of our friends are coming along. Definitely don't do that. No group dates. You want to hang out, have fun, and hook up. All you're going to be doing is hanging out and having fun with a bunch of cock blockers and clam slammers. He says, I've never met any of them before. How should I be with them? Well, you shouldn't be anything because you shouldn't be doing group dates with her. What you should be doing is making a date for the two of you to hang out, have fun, and hook up. See, what's happening is now she's starting to kind of drag you into friend zone, and you're like, okay, let's go hang out at a club. Absolutely not. One date per week. And when you do that, what typically tends to happen, if everything goes great like it did in your first 2 dates, and you don't act weak afterwards, then she starts to call you. She starts to text you in between those dates. And then you just use that as an opportunity to set the next date. So if I were you, I would download a copy of my book and read it. And for those of you that don't have the Kindle version, on my website underneath the email sign-up box, there's a link that will take you right to the Kindle download page. Now, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for whatever electronic device that you want to read it on. And if you'd like to talk to me personally to get my help with a challenge that you're presently having, whether it's in your personal life, or your career, your business, or just quality of life issues, go to my website, click the Products tab at the top of your screen, and book a paid phone coaching session. And I will talk to you soon.